Ground Zero, Las Vegas, City of Lights, now faces days unknown. Valley full of potential, now serves at the altar of redemption. Downtown, the historic heart of Las Vegas. Downtown is the home to classic casinos like the Gold Nugget, El Cortez, the Golden Gate, the Mob Museum, with its interactive exhibitions on organized crime. A vibrant LED canopy covers Fremont Street experience, a 24-hour mall with shops, light shows, the Slotzilla zipline, drinking and dining options range from casual burger and pizza places to sleek steakhouses and glitzy cocktail bars. Now it's empty, barren, anticipating. Of the 150,000 hotel and motel rooms available in the immediate Las Vegas area for the past 3 years, we have been on the rise from 2017 to 2020. In 2017 at 88.7, 2018 at 88.2, 2019 with 88.9, with the average room rate of $132. But in 2020, we're at 39.8% by April, a $65.5 million loss per month. In March of 2019, Las Vegas hosted 552,200 convention attendees, but fell by 55% to just 249,000 in March of 2020. The visitation in Las Vegas in 2018 was 42,116,800. 2019, 42,523,700. In January 2020, we had 3,500,100 visitors. February, 3,330,200 visitors. In March, 1,500,100. But in April, just 106,000 visitors in Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Strip employs roughly 100,450 people. The approximate number of Clark County School District employees for 2019 and 2020 was 41,714 people. The Clark County municipal employees was 10,000 plus from 2019 to 2020. With air travel, McCarran Airport passengers in 2017 was approximately 48,500,000. 2018, 49,700,000. In 2019, 41,500,000. But in 2020, in January, just 1.4 million, a 37% loss. In February, 1.2 million, 35% loss. In March, just 688,000, 84% loss. And in April 2020, just 152,000, a 96% loss. In schools and education, the approximate number of students K through 12 in Southern Nevada in 2019 to 2020 was 329,259. The approximate number of college students in Clark County are as follows: UNLV, 25,202 students; CSN, 31,023 students; Northwest Career College, just 1,067 students; and Pima, 707 students, with a total of 58,079 students in Southern Nevada. Sports and entertainment. Las Vegas is home to several professional sport teams, such as Las Vegas Aviators Minor League Baseball, Las Vegas Golden Knights for NHL hockey, auto racing for NASCAR, Las Vegas Aces Women's Basketball, Henderson Las Vegas American Hockey League, Las Vegas Lights Football Club for soccer, Sin City Trojans Women's Football, and last but not least, Las Vegas Raiders, NFL.
What's up, Kev?
Hey, what's going on, Mark? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, bro. So, thank you again, man, inviting me to your house. All this time, I got on my hands with this COVID thing. Still really can't go many places. My favorite restaurant's still closed, and I'm just trying to do something, man, to make most of my time, bro. To make most of my time, and what you got going on right now?
Well, I'm sitting here getting ready to transition into retiring from the Air Force and hopefully into another career.
Okay.
But the best part is of 2020 for me has been the birth of my newborn.
Yes.
London Robert James.
Yes.
But otherwise, man, I'm just sitting here reflecting, thinking about life. And it's funny, I'm sitting here looking at the stock market and the ups and downs. And it's funny how much that associates to just life in general.
Yeah.
Because, one day you're up, next day you're down. And I think we find ourselves in a time where we think we're down. And when you're down, that's when sometimes you make the best or worst mistakes because your decisions are based on emotion.
I agree, man. And speaking of, London here, man, it's a whole new world for him because he was just born. And in a lot of ways, life for him is going to be very, very different.
Right.
From this day forward, the schooling is going to be different. Where he goes is going to be different. Careers.
Yes, it's going to be a whole new world, man. You know, and it's times like this where the leaders have to step up, because we have to not only know the way, we have to show the way. And you're going to find that we're in a time where many different perspectives that can be value added need to be brought together to the table.
Yeah.
But I'm fortunate because even at a time like this, you know, I get to balance all the experience and lessons learned coming out of the military as a chief. But I've also been blessed to be integrated and accepted to a Leadership Las Vegas program where there's so many awesome people who got so much inspiring things to say, so much knowledge, so much it's just so much goodness to bring to the table, you know, and they're so open-minded. And I think what's awesome is that there's a lot of pockets leaders, but I want to focus on that one because I think they are going to bring a lot of value into the recovery of Las Vegas, whether it's from law enforcement, from health, education, government, safety net, you name it, it's all represented in this group of individual leaders.
Is there any way that, you know, we can set something up to where I can get in front of them so they can kind of, you know, tell their story?
Yeah.
And their perspective, any way we can do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? Let me I think.
All right, Kevin, man, I got a lot of names here, bro. So I think this is gonna be great. But you know, we gotta do yours first, bro. So you ready?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right. So Kev, man, what's up with that yellow bandana, bro? We going to like gang territory, bro? Like, I'm trying to figure this out.
You don't know about the 702 Love Gang?
No, please tell me about it.
So no, actually, in Leadership Las Vegas, we have Gateway, which is broken up into 4 teams in what's called SimSoc, Simulated Society. So yellow is my color.
Okay.
And represents the society that I existed in. So because we're going out and we're gonna go see parts of Las Vegas and hear the stories from the perspectives of each falcon.
Yep.
I figured I'd represent my colors, team yellow.
Okay.
And we're just, you know, and hey, you know, it makes her a handy dandy mouth cover because, you know, we're talking about welcome to the world, but what kind of world we live in.
Yeah.
We live in a world now where, you know, I think people used to, you know, blow off the idea of wearing a face mask and hand sanitizer because it's crazy that you go to the store and you can't find hand sanitizer and cleaning stuff.
I hate that, bro, because like, you know, you get there early and then you gotta wait in line, bro. And then sometimes, you know, you can only get one. So what we had to do was, me and my wife, man, we had to go to the store and then you know, we had to act like we kind of didn't know each other. I got one roll like 8 roll and then she got one, and then, you know, say, hey, is there anything else? Because one time I went to the store by myself and I grabbed like a whole gang of toilet paper, and the lady's like, no, one per family. I'm like, I got a big family, so what are you supposed to say? Those people got like 8 people, 10 people in their family. And you say, well, they have to be here. I'm like, but you say that we're supposed to practice social distance. I don't want my whole family going to the store, so what are you gonna do then?
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's I think the social distancing thing is very smart when it came to flattening the curve.
Yeah.
However, common space, nothing's a perfect process.
Yeah.
I think everybody's just trying to do their best.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody's got a perspective based on their lenses and their needs. You know, just like you said, the limitations of supplies. I was just at Costco yesterday and I could only get 1 pack of bacon. I said, hey, you know, we have a family of 8.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, 1 pack of bacon for a husband and wife might be all right, but, you know, we got a lot of mouths to feed and it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that's some of the things that we have to consider as we look to reopen and return to some fairly normal lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely going to require unity, not division.
Yep.
And
I agree with that.
Everybody's voices needs to be considered.
Yeah.
You know, if you spent any time on social media during your quarantine, which probably everybody was living on it, you know, you see a lot of people doing a Zoom, you know, Microsoft Teams, a lot of Facebooking, a lot of text messaging,
Google Duo.
You will see that there is some very big divided perspectives on opening and whether, you know, your rights are being infringed upon by being forced to stay inside.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people violating it. Man, I don't know, you know. Even our mayor was on the news, which created quite a lot of different perspectives to be shared on whether she was right, wrong, or indifferent. You know.
So, Kev, when things were normal, like, what did you do in your everyday walk? Like, what did you do, you know, with your profession?
Well, I am a Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force here at Nellis Air Force Base. But when this all started, I was kind of already in an internship phase, so I can retire and move on and do something else, life after the Air Force. So it was kind of ironic that there was a lot going on between retiring, getting ready to transition and become Mr. James, not Chief. And then I had Mr. London on the way.
Yeah.
So it all really got hot as far as like shelter in place, quarantine, just before my son was born. But so besides that, you know, normal life was, you know, work, gym, family, grocery store. But, you know, even the most simplest lifestyles were impacted. You know, once they closed the schools, and then, you know, you have 3 kids trying to learn how to do distance learning, and they thought summer break started early.
Yep.
With a newborn.
My kid's eating that up, man. I'm like, this is not a privilege or a vacation. Like, you still have school. You still have grades. You still have to check in. You know, it's just as much of a shock to our kids than it is to adults. And, you know, they're impacted in so many different ways, man. So how are you, like, impacted by this?
Well, you know, quite honestly, you know, it's pretty emotional after spending 28 years in the Air Force and trying to figure out what you're going to do next. And a lot of times, at least for me, let me just speak for me, it was like, yep, I want nothing to do with going back in the government. I want to see what life is like outside, you know, in the civilian sector, maybe go work in the casino industry or go into something, you know, that's not government. And when this all happened, I'd realized how good I had it, you know, and it wasn't because I was necessarily bitter. I just, you know, I joined the Air Force when I was 17 and I was ready for a change. So quite honestly, the biggest lesson I got in this whole thing was how much I didn't spend time with my family like I used to. And how important it is to keep things in perspective and remember what's important. And it was funny because I'm not the only one. A lot of people didn't know how to respond when they had time to downshift from 6th gear to 3rd gear and just, hey, spend time with your family and friends.
Yeah. Now that you have it, you know, people work, you know, their whole life for one, to have time, but also, you know, to have money.
Yeah.
But now that some of us are fortunate enough to have both, you know, what are you going to do with that? You know, so what are some of the things you've learned since this, you know, since all this started, bro?
Well, I've learned to be grateful for what you have. Within a week, your world could be turned upside down.
Absolutely.
You know, like, you know, you're going to hear from some of the Falcons who had businesses that were thriving, and it seemed like in a snap of a finger, they're trying to figure out how to survive and stay open.
Yeah.
I was just reading in Facebook this morning how one business that's been open for, I think, 30 years in Vegas is going out of business now. I think it's a restaurant called Ricardo's or something like that.
I know Ricardo's.
So it was just on Facebook, you know, and if it's Facebook official, it's legit.
Wow.
You know? So, dude, this would have been... Is this testing? Wow.
You think we should turn around?
Yeah. me tell you something. As I started making this transition, one of the things that is often associated with us is called the Veterans Affairs Administration, the VA, right? And one of our fellow Falcons, Chuck, he represents the VA. And the veteran population in Las Vegas is large and significant. And there's a lot of safety net programs that are out there to help support them. So I want you to meet Chuck and get his perspective. He represents the public affairs portion of the VA, and he can bring you a lot of good insight on how the VA has adjusted, not just for the vets, how they've influenced or have been impacted on healthcare during the pandemic.
An ocean, a cave, a dream that no one could save, a shelter, a whole act, a light that died with the night. You and I, we got our differences.
All right. Well, Charles, thank you for meeting me here, opening your doors here to the VA. It was a little empty. We walked in, so I'm guessing something happened. March 15th happened.
Well, sure. So you are here at the VA Southern Nevada Healthcare System, and we provide healthcare services to approximately 83,000 enrolled veterans here in Clark, Lincoln, and Nye counties. Now, about 65,000 veterans are accessing those services each year. So we are probably one of the biggest and busiest healthcare systems in the Las Vegas Valley. Now, the VA is a little different than a hospital. You're in a hospital right now, but we're also a primary care clinic. We provide mental health services. We have an outpatient specialty clinics that we do here. We do residential treatment facilities. So we have a lot of different things that are going on. So COVID-19 has kind of taken some effects, or had some effects on us. So here at the VA Southern Nevada Healthcare System, we were ground zero in the state of Nevada for COVID-19. I was actually coming home from a leadership class session that we were doing a class project, and I had to go downtown and meet with a few of my classmates for that. I was actually kind of like, this is like a day after we had done an exercise to prepare for COVID-19. So I'm coming home, I'm like, oh, I got off early today. I get to go home for a little bit. And then all of a sudden I got called back in that night that we had the first positive patient. So the VA Southern Nevada Healthcare System had the first positive COVID-19 patient in Southern Nevada. So we were pretty much in the spotlight, and all eyes were on us on how to handle this. And our staff has performed phenomenally. We have continued to kind of lead the community on the response to this, working with our community partners. We have some phenomenal community partners out there providing healthcare, but we've continued to work with them to respond to this, and our community has done pretty well. Our facility has kind of led the VA in many ways because we were one of the first cases. We've introduced some treatment methods that have helped our patients out. We've also introduced things such as screening ahead of the rest of the VA. So anybody who comes into our VA facilities gets screened. They get masked. We've introduced a lot of those types of things, and we've worked with the community. We've done everything such as convalescent plasma, where we've actually had a VA employee who was one of the early people who had COVID-19 here in Southern Nevada. That individual recovered, and that individual donated her plasma to a veteran who was here in our hospital to try and provide treatment. So we've been on a cutting edge of COVID-19 since day one. But it's not without its challenges. So as you're probably, I don't know if you're aware, so Nevada, we are 47th for physicians in the nation per capita, 48th for nurses in the nation per capita, 50th for behavioral health specialists per capita, and we are also 51st in the nation for Medicaid reimbursement. So that creates a situation where healthcare availability is pretty dire in the state. So Nevada as a whole, and Southern Nevada specifically, had to do something to react to this right away, and that was pretty much shut down all the hospital and healthcare facilities to stand up our COVID response units and our COVID wards. Our capability, and that's not an easy thing. That's like taking an aircraft carrier that's going full bore out in the middle of the ocean and having it do a 180 in a matter of hours. It's just kind of putting it on its brakes and all that. And that's what every healthcare system here in Southern Nevada had to do. And in the VA, we had to do that as well. Part of our mission here, we call it our fourth mission, is emergency response. So we had to set up a surge capability here at our VA to be ready to bring in potential people from the community. Maybe if several veterans got infected with COVID-19, we had to be ready for that. So we had to build emergency response plans to be ready for those actions should they come. And we built a capability where we could be prepared to house up to 230 COVID-19 patients if we had to. We did not have to do that. Obviously, our numbers were much smaller than that, but the work that went into that basically ceased all of our operations. Obviously, working with the state and federal partners, we wanted to ensure that we were helping maintain social distancing, that we were putting safeguards in place to take care of our employees as well as our veterans. So we basically had to shut down services as well. So there were lots of moving parts there. Plus, you're dealing with a staff of 2,800 employees that you need to keep informed and educated. And my job as the Chief of Public Affairs was to kind of manage all of that, communicating with the employees, telling them what's going on, working with the media response. Since we were the first COVID-19 response in the state of Nevada, pretty much everything rained down on us in a matter of minutes. The story leaked out to the media really quickly. So we had everybody from Washington, D.C. down to every media outlet and agency contacting us, and then our employees, we needed to, obviously they're concerned, they want to know what's going on. So we had to manage a lot of those communications, and we have done that. We're in, I call it Groundhog Day, or plus 60. We have done nothing but continue to inform and educate our staff what's going on, and try to provide our community with a look inside the VA to see what we're doing, because as we go, the community goes, and we want to present at front that we as the Southern Nevada community are prepared and we are managing this, and I think our community has done a phenomenal job. So where does Leadership Las Vegas come into that? Leadership Las Vegas, I cannot think of a better time to have been in Leadership Las Vegas. I have 60 of the closest sisters and brothers that I've had in a long time, and from all walks of life. And being able to reach out to that support network, especially as I was on ground zero in a few days, they were checking in with me. Chuck, how are you doing? Is there anything we can do for you? Providing resources, trying to work with each other. It was a phenomenal network. And then just learning as I went through this situation and we integrated in with the community. As a public affairs officer, I participate in a daily call with our public information officers across the valley. I've been doing that daily since this started. We have members of our team down in emergency response cells. Leadership Las Vegas and the Las Vegas Chamber touch all of that. So when I'm on there and I'm on a community call and I'm hearing some of the first responders, I'm hearing a Leadership Las Vegas grad that's kind of leading this response, or some of my peers that are on this as we're trying to figure out what's happening with the community, what's happening with the economy, what's going to happen as we work toward the new normal. A lot of the people that are making those decisions or are at the top of those discussions are Leadership Las Vegas grads. So I am honored to be kind of part of such a program that has such a dignified following, and know that we are leading this community. And our chamber leadership has been doing phenomenal things too behind the scenes, and they've worked leaps and bounds trying to keep businesses open, keep them educated. I mean, offering free memberships to businesses so that they can get the latest information on how to provide for, how to apply for PPP funds, how to get resources for their staff, how to take care of themselves, how to reopen their businesses. So the chamber has been a valuable asset in that too. So Leadership Las Vegas, it's a lot more than just going to class for a few days. It's actually going in and becoming part of a family and part of a network, and that network got activated with COVID-19, and we are very fortunate to have that, because everybody had those personal relationships. We were able to help each other reach across federal, state, local boundaries, just to provide people with resources, information, and get things moving.
That's awesome, man. Talking about that support system that you have, because that's what you really need to get through any tough time, especially something like this. When you know you're not alone, when you know that you have someone that you can call, email, or meet with you that's not going to be so socially conscious about what's going on, because they genuinely care about your well-being. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's we talk to each other as our Leadership Las Vegas class, the Falcons. We're always in touch with each other daily on Facebook or via our text groups, maybe our mini life journey groups, or through our different networks, meetings, events, and all that. We were pretty close and pretty much in touch with each other before this, but now we're kind of dealing with this new normal. So as I kind of put it out to the class recently, there's the Robert Frost poem that's the road less traveled, and at the end of that, it kind of talks about how taking that alternative route was worth it, and it actually made you grow and made you stronger, made you closer. And I think that's what this is going to do for this Leadership Las Vegas class for the Falcons. I don't think there was any other class I would want to be in but the Falcons, and our journey is a unique journey. It's nobody else is going to have this journey. I don't wish the journey on anyone else, but I'm happy that we had it and we were in it together.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Charles, for meeting up with me, man. I have nothing else to add, because everything you said was on point. Everything you said was very informative, and everything you said can spark a light out of anyone that's dealing with that, because you dealing with this first. This hit you guys first, statewide, and so It's a very different perspective that you have, but you was able to turn it into a positive because of the outlook you see in the future, which is very important.
And I think so. And I think the big thing, obviously, we talked about the response, we've talked about what we've done, but now we kind of are looking, okay, the new normal. What is that going to look like? Where are we going? What is going to happen with healthcare? What is going to happen with our gaming industry? What is going to happen with education? These are our big pillars that we all kind of look at when we go through Leadership Las Vegas. Business, gaming, media, and government. We have a lot of challenges ahead. I think we did well and we got through a lot of this, but now this new normal, it's not just like we're going to turn the lights back on here in Vegas, and it's going to take strong leadership, and it's going to take people, and there's going to be a lot of Leadership Las Vegas alumni's hands that touch this and help bring us back to that from this event to the new normal. It's just amazing where we've come. If you would have asked me on January 17th, Leadership Las Vegas, we were sitting in a room. It was called Preview Las Vegas. The chamber had invited us down, and we're sitting there, and Jeremy Aguero from Applied Analysis is sitting there. He's giving us a presentation on Vegas, how this is going to be Vegas's greatest year. We've got the 4 biggest conventions in the country coming here. We have the Las Vegas Raiders coming here. The convention center's opening up additional space. In addition to the convention center, Caesars, these other properties are opening up space. This is our year. Aguero laid it out. He says, this is our year. This is Las Vegas's year, and our biggest worry is becoming complacent. Now, fast forward 4 or 5 months, here we are, and we have seen a total change and a total transition of what's happened in Las Vegas from that, and we are going to be probably the most affected community. I was reading an article recently that said the number 1 affected state by COVID-19 economically is going to be Nevada, and out of the top 10 cities that were going to be affected by COVID-19, 4 were in southern Nevada. It was Henderson, North Las Vegas, which is different than, and then Spring Valley, which is kind of like your strip area. Yeah. So the unincorporated Clark County. So we are going to have a road ahead of us, but I'm not worried about it, because I think with people that we have that are Leadership Las Vegas graduates and others in this community, that we're going to move ahead. I have been here for 9/11. I was here for the Great Recession. We supported the VA, supported October 1st, and now we have COVID-19. When you go through those events, you don't think, okay, anything can get worse, or you've been challenged, you've met your match. But then something like this comes, and it resets you and it pushes you farther. And to have that network of resources through the Chamber and Leadership Las Vegas, I know that I am a much stronger person. I was able to respond much quicker, and I was able to do my job and inform and educate veterans, employees, and other stakeholders, because I had taken some of that networking and used it to my advantage.
Well, that's great, man. And by you saying that, we're on the 4 of the 10, cities being affected, that also means that we can also potentially have one of the biggest comebacks.
Most definitely. And that's what I'm thinking for. So we're starting to see the comebacks. I mean, the NFL schedule was released this week, and on the NFL schedule now, I see the San Francisco hat there. Yeah. I'm a Seahawks fan, so.
Okay, it's a family thing,
So,
Raiders fan, so I have to be with families.
But if you look at that, so the NFL schedule was released this week. So the Raiders are sold out for the year, and they have some of the highest ticket prices in the NFL, kind of like the Golden Knights do.
Yep.
I'm not happy that I would have to pay those ticket prices, but that does tell me that those little pieces are going to help us. And as we work through this fabric, and we kind of put the patchwork back together as the quilt that is Las Vegas, we're going to come out of it stronger, and I think we're going to be better prepared the next time something happens. So I think October 1st and what we did to kind of prepare ourselves and kind of respond to that tragedy, I actually think some of that mindset and some of that forward thinking actually has helped us so much in this event. And just, this is October 1st on steroids times 1,000. So just imagine what we're going to learn from this. And I have no doubt we're going to come back from this and be better.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Charles. That was awesome.
All right.
Now the next we're going to go into like a cluster, right? So we're going to have a group of folks.
Okay.
And I think what you'll like is when you bring 3 different perspectives into one setting and how it's impacted them during the pandemic in Las Vegas, right? So you're talking about Ali, who represents the city of Las Vegas, Nate Hunterman with community, and he does some medical. He's integrated in the medical community as well.
Okay.
And we're talking about Paul, right, who runs Shine Light, those guys who go down to their big safety net program, going down into the tunnels and trying to help get people out from there, who's also associated with the Freedom House. You're going to get some good perspective from those 3 leaders.
Okay. Allie, Nate, and Paul. All right, Paul, thank you so much, man, for meeting me here in this beautiful, historic venue. We know that there's a lot of things going on right now, but, I appreciate the time you've given us. So, Paul, can you please briefly just tell us what you do?
I work in substance use disorder. I work for Freedom House Sober Living, which is a nonprofit, and I work for Crossroads of Southern Nevada, which is a detox for indigent and homeless.
Okay. Oh wow. So how's that going right now?
It's good. It's it's gotten really busy for us. I guess when everything kind of happened, we got like a flood of people that came in all at once to try to get indoors. And so, it was kind of hectic trying to navigate that. Also at Crossroads, we opened up a wing specific for COVID patients so that we could try to help take off some of the weight that the hospitals were having for clients that needed isolation. So that's been an interesting thing to maneuver and learn how to execute.
Well, that's what I love about the city, man. We're so grateful to have facilities and people like you working with those people, man, that are, going through something like that. So how are you like personally impacted by it?
I've over the years, I've kind of learned how to just like ignore my surroundings. So really it's just personally, I've gotten busier, and that's really, I think the biggest thing for me is just learning how to navigate an entire new disease, because I'm so used to focusing on the substance use and the alcohol use disorders that it was just something new to learn on how to approach the people and what it is that we're talking to them about and trying to help navigate the case management and get them back to their normal lives. And I think that's been it, is the learning curve for me.
Yeah.
To adjust to handling a different type of disease.
Yeah. So with the health people dealing with like not having enough face coverings, not having enough, beds for people dealing with, this is a whole different thing.
Sure.
But how is everything going on like at home? It's like, do you have kids and stuff at home?
I do. I have 3 kids, and my wife's got sent home to work from home.
Okay.
So it's been kind of restless at home, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've got a 12-year-old that school ended early for him, and we had to, make the adjustment to homeschooling. My 3-year-old and my 1-year-old, I think the biggest obstacle there was just trying to explain to them that we can't go to the park every day.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, everything's normal for them. For my wife, like, I really felt for my wife, going from full-time work and a fast-paced life and doing what she loves to do to kind of be immobilized at home and having to make that adjustment so quickly. But she did excellent at it,
That's good, man. Well, how do you think things are going to change going forward, especially once all this stuff goes over?
The only thing that I think that I know is that it'll all change very slowly, that I think by the time he gets back to normal, that each stage will have happened so slowly that it won't be a culture shock to just jump right back in. I think that, over time we'll get more and more and more freedom and get more and more and more back out in the community, that I don't even know that we'll notice the shift from being quarantined, locked down to back to normal.
Yeah. So you look like a pretty athletic guy, man. I know myself, I miss...
Looks can be deceiving.
Well, I miss my I miss my sports, man. What do you miss the most?
We do this homeless outreach thing, and it serves a lot of different purposes for me. One of it is fellowshipping, to get together with the people that I've come up with that
Absolutely.
kind of have this common goal, and I think that's what I miss the most, is the autonomy to just be able to go out and do that work on my free time. I think that's what it is the peace of mind to just go and do what it is that we do to make it through. And that having been stripped, like the proverbial comfort food, I suppose, I would say, like, having to kind of fall in line and be a good example of what it means to try to keep everybody safe around you in spite of my selfish wants or needs.
Yeah.
Has been probably the thing I miss the most, is that I just can't go and do what it is that I do on a daily basis without hesitation and second thought and planning. And
so it sounds like, man, you love being around people. You love helping people. It sounds like you got a passion for, helping people, especially since you don't want to feel held back and you don't want to second guess yourself, So I commend you for that, man. It takes a special person to put yourself out there. These doctors and these nurses and stuff, they're putting their lives on the line, trying to make sure everyone's safe, man. It sounds like you have that same type of mentality, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I was a part of the culture that I'm trying to help for over a decade. And the principles that we're taught when we're trying to change our lives is to stay connected and to continue to fellowship and check in with people and not over phone, so that they can see your face and they can gauge how you're doing, and essentially transparency. And if anything, it's kind of robbed us of our ability to stay transparent. And so even on a personal level, like as selfless as it sounds, it's truly a selfish pursuit to try to maintain this life that I'm trying to pursue and I'm trying to lean into and grow and learn how to execute. And our ability and everything that we were taught to maintain that has almost been stripped down to the bare necessities, which has been a really hard adjustment. The 12-step groups that I do have all went over to Zoom, like anything else. I mean, everything's seemingly gone to Zoom, but it's changed the energy that you receive from participating. It's changed the connection that you seek when you tap into these things. And it's been an interesting adjustment. And unfortunately, it's made it difficult for a lot of people that are just starting this journey to really find the connection that they need in order to persevere in that, pursuit. And I think that's been a really hard thing to watch, is knowing that there's not much else we can do to try to help the situation when it comes to somebody new coming in wanting to get off drugs or alcohol. Because we ourselves don't have the autonomy to freely do what it is that we know to do.
That's good, man. Well, what is one thing you can share with people, man, who are trying to recover from something like this, but not all the avenues are available? Are you still able to meet with people one-on-one, or is it just the Zoom thing right now?
Yeah, no, I mean, for the most part, we've done our best to try to be good examples of what it means to follow the rules.
Right.
Considering, like, speaking for myself, like, part of that disease is complete disregard for the rules. And so, like, again, some of what we're taught is you just have to fall in line and be that example that this is what you do when you're doing the right thing. So a lot of it has gone to Zoom and a lot of it has gone to FaceTime. And I think really the biggest advice that I could give anybody is that I've done both. So like having been in the quarantine and having to learn to adjust to like the restrictions and not being able to pursue that recovery is still not as bad as it was prior to coming in. And so like, and I tell my guys all the time, like, you're not going to come out of this any worse than you came into this if you pursue it.
Right.
And I really feel like that's, a fact with this situation is as long as you stay busy and do what you can to just get through and persevere, like you're not going to come out any worse than you went in.
Wow, that's some awesome advice. Well, thank you so much, Paul, man, for your time. You have a very humble spirit about yourself, and I'm, very grateful, man, to be, to be in your presence right now, man. I really appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Well, thank you so much, Allie, for meeting me here again at this historic venue, one of the most prominent venues for weddings, especially here downtown at the heart of Vegas. So, Allie, what exactly did you do?
So I am the director of the Office of Cultural Affairs for the City of Las Vegas.
Oh, wow. So what exactly does that entail? I know you had the pull to open up this facility to us, which I really, really appreciate.
Yeah.
But what does that exactly entail?
So what that means is that I oversee performing arts, public art, visual art, and arts education for the City of Las Vegas. We have 6 performance facilities throughout the city. We program about 10 galleries, and then the public art program is spread out throughout the city. That's the nature of public art.
Yeah.
We also currently oversee the special events unit, so all of the special events that take place in the City of Las Vegas that are permitted through our office.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So what about the Smith Center? Is that part of public arts, or is that a private thing?
So no, the Smith Center is a private nonprofit organization.
Okay.
The city had a hand in helping to build the facility,
Okay.
but it's now operated and managed by a private nonprofit.
Okay. So those plays that I went to at some of the libraries,
Mm-hmm.
like some of the performing arts stuff and the dancing and stuff, is that part of the performing arts thing that you do?
So that's definitely part of the performing arts community in Las Vegas,
Okay.
but that's under the Las Vegas Clark County Library District, which is
Okay.
a separate municipal agency from the city.
Okay. So what's been going on with like the performing arts since the middle of March? Have things at kind of at a halt or pause, or how is it going right now?
So definitely for performing arts, everything really screeched to a halt.
Yeah.
It was kind of a long screech. I think there were a few people that were holding out,
Yep.
hoping we could still have outdoor festivals and outdoor events. But in the period of a week or two, it became really obvious that everything had to cease. So I think it was around mid-March, around March 18th, that really at that point everything stopped. Even the Smith Center stopped. And so since then, it's really been nothing. I mean, I think you've seen a lot of artists that have put their content online. You can
Yes.
see live stream old performances,
Yes.
or hear artists talk from their living rooms. But as far as performing arts in the live, you're experiencing it with your community, that hasn't happened since the middle of March.
Yeah, man. So, what do you miss the most since then?
Well, I mean, to be frank, since it's my job,
Yeah.
I just miss being able to do my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been in the arts since I was a child. I grew up in a performing arts family
Okay.
and a family of visual artists as well. So, it's been part of my everyday
identity.
since I
Yeah.
was aware of my days,
Yeah.
So that's been really hard, just knowing that, there's so much creative energy out there. There's so many people who want to gather people together around a performance or a festival or even just a brief happening, and it just can't happen right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been really hard because I think a lot of people in my field particularly are having a difficult time reimagining what our field is going to look like, because there's been a lot of talk about the fact that this, we're probably never going to go back to exactly what it was like before. And so it's hard when you've been doing this your whole life to now think, how am I going to do this differently?
Right. Yeah. There's going to be definitely some technology advancement. We're going to have to, innovate. New jobs going to be created. I know that maybe with rehearsing or something like that, how do you think that's going to change? Is it will be an instructor doing a Zoom class and the rest of them are following in their homes or something like that? How do you think things may change? Going to adapt?
Yeah. Well, that is a really good question, and it's something that we've been thinking about a lot as we're now kind of stepping into the phases of being able to slowly reopen.
Yeah.
We've been doing a lot of planning and strategizing and brainstorming of, okay, we can figure out how to seat people in the theater so they're not near each other, but how do we get the people on stage to come together and rehearse, in a safe way?
Yeah.
And it's hard, I mean, I think I can foresee, a lot of rehearsals happening far apart, and then, at the last minute, everybody comes together, but that really, flies in the face of what theater is as an art form. It's about connecting with another human being and creating those relationships
bonds,
and those
yes.
bonds, for the service of the play, and you can't really do that in just, a couple days or a few hours.
Yeah.
So,
Because they're a team.
Yeah.
They're a family. They're a unit. It's more than just the person that is going to help me tumble or do this stunt. Well, this person I'm actually eating with, I'm
Yeah.
traveling with. We could be related. We could be we could be family members. But how's the family going right now? With you regarding what's going on.
So my family is spread out all over the country.
Okay.
My mother's in Florida, my sister and brother and my father are in Colorado. I have family on the East Coast, the West Coast. So, for us, it's normal for us to be separated quite a bit.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think this whole quarantine, shelter in place, stay at home, whatever state you're in, whatever it's called, has really inspired us to be more connected than
Yes.
before.
That's good.
So we've started doing family dinners on Zoom, some of the fun things that you hear about other people doing. And so we started doing that on a more regular basis. I reach out to my mom more often than I did before. She's in a nursing home. So, it's been interesting, and my very best friends that I grew up with that live on the East Coast now, we connect via Zoom a lot more often than we used to.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's some weird little silver linings in this whole situation that have actually brought me closer to some of the people I care about the most. It's been interesting being home all day with my husband. So my husband and I don't have any kids. We have dogs, but we don't have any kids.
Hey, dogs are almost a good substitute.
They're pretty close.
My dogs are loving it. They know exactly when we're going to go for a walk.
Yes.
They read our gestures. They say, "Oh, I'm about to get a treat. I'm about to get a treat." So, they're eating it up because they know that I get all the attention now.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
definitely.
good. That's good. So what is something you can share with those that's in performing arts or in any kind of other profession to help them like buy time? What is one thing that you're doing that's helping you with it?
Yeah. So, a big thing that we've been doing is just reaching out on a regular basis and just calling other artists, artists who are friends, artists who are just acquaintances or colleagues in the community, and having kind of regular check-ins, and really planning for the future, and starting to make those connections and talk to other arts organizations in our community about how we can collaborate when this is all over. And I think that that's brought a lot of really positive energy to the field because it's giving people something to think about other than what's happening right now, which we have plenty of time to think about what's happening right now, and it's kind of depressing. But to think about the future and okay, when we are able to gather in small groups, then we can start coming together and fleshing out this idea more. When we can gather in bigger groups, then we can start bringing teams together and actually doing some of the work. And it's been really energizing for my team as well as some of the partners that we've reached out to. They've just been so grateful and excited, and they're like, "This is the best call I've gotten all week. Thank you so much." And those are the kind of things that it doesn't cost any money to have a conversation or to make plans for the future.
And
it just takes a little bit of time, and we've all got lots of time right now.
That's good. You're able to turn this thing into a positive, get closer to family, be more interactive. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Allie, for your time. And hopefully when all this stuff gets better, I'm definitely going to come to you for some tickets.
Absolutely.
For some performing arts. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Well, Nate, thank you so much, man, for, again, meeting me here at this beautiful facility with Allie and Paul. It's been, a wonderful, I would say, quest doing all these interviews with you and these Falcons, these rock stars here in this beautiful city that is struggling at the time, but I know there's a huge light at the end of the tunnel. So, Nate, what do you do?
So I'm in the medical device field. I work in medical devices to support hospitals, doctors, and the medical industry through equipment and training.
Okay. So how has you adapted, or how has the industry adapted since the middle of March?
That is still going on, and our adaptation weeks from now will be different than it is right now. For the most part, the hospitals have said, okay, we want less contact, less in and out from people, even if they've got some value, because that's one of the best ways to control potential exposure, right? It's just less people.
Right.
So I've stepped back and do most of that just over the phone, over communication, whatever it is, and really try to support in that way. Because, while I think I can bring value whenever I'm working on that, I don't want to do that at the risk of contaminating anybody or bringing that back to my own house.
Yeah. So you at home now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good, man. So how's the family doing, man? So talking about all this other stuff at work.
Yeah.
How is you? How is the family, man? How's that going on right now?
So my answer to that, I think it's, for me, if I'm having a conversation on that, I think it's really okay that answer changes at any given. And if you say, well, my kids are good, and then they have a tantrum in an hour, that's okay. That's kind of part of this.
Of course. My kids, we've had some stuff, happen because we've talked about some personal things that it is going to set some things off, but it's going to help them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that we're getting these conversations out now versus with an employer or with a business or with a close friends, because right now having a really good friend at this time is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
one thing that's helped me the most is reaching out to people every single day.
Yeah.
You know, I got almost 1,000 contacts in my phone.
Okay.
And so I've gotten through almost 300 of them.
Yeah.
I got a long way to go because I don't want to just have a 5-minute conversation
Right.
and then it's over. You know, I want to talk about some real stuff.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Things that I took for granted, things that I didn't take advantage of the most. You know, there's so many times where I said to my wife, let's do this, let's do that. And we didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can't do it. And now I'm like, dang it. You know, I want to write a list down of all those things that, you know, that I didn't take advantage of, man. So what are those things that that you definitely want to do once all
Sure.
this stuff gets better?
One of the most important thing for me from the kids' perspective is they're going to have their whole lives to get assimilated back into education. And that's a good thing. We have some structure. My wife's been phenomenal about keeping up with homeschooling. But for me, this time was really about discovery. What are they going to do that's new? I don't need to simulate this thing they're going to get 12, 16 years of, as much as let's capture something in this moment that will never be offered again. And letting them find things, let them discover things, let them start things. I have 3 kids, they're in different stages. I have a 4 or 6-year-old and an 18-year-old who unfortunately this is his senior year. And this is what his high school graduation looks like.
My son too.
Yeah.
He, you know, wife had a problem. She had to call, I believe it's Johnson's or something like that, the company that for the cap and gowns.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to take the cap and gowns to the schools.
Yeah.
I'm like, she had it all day on the phone trying to get him on the phone, like, bring him here because we don't
Right.
know when he's going to graduate.
Right.
But he kind of likes it like this.
Yeah.
In a crazy way because it won't. If it's not a lot of people, he's very like stage fright.
Mm-hmm.
He don't like being around a lot of people, so he's like, I like it like this.
Yeah.
If it's small and secluded, I can just get my diploma and walk away. I'd rather have that. But then there's those who want to decorate their tassel, that want to, you know, call their family and say, hey, you know, this is the day. Please come by. You know, you want to have that gift for them as soon as they, you know, come across. You know, get out of there. You know, so that can be tough because this is a memory.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think they're going to come out much stronger by knowing that these things are privileges. They're not just things that just because, you know, my kids are starting to see that these things are privileges.
Yeah.
You know, they must not be taken for granted.
Right.
You know, they're much more humble because they want to go to a friend's house and cannot. They want to, you know, meet up at Youth World, you know, like they used to, but they cannot. But now they're learning to make more more foods and stuff at home. You know, like we ain't gonna get no DoorDash and Uber Eats every day. That stuff's expensive, man.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way. We have cars. We can drive.
Yeah.
We can drive to places.
And I see in that the power of resilience, of self-reliance, right? So my oldest is an athlete. He's at the gym 6-7 days a week, and then he goes, okay, if I can't go to the gym, can I go here? Can I go to this friend's house or whatever? Then he says, can we get one of these and get one of those? And he went to a friend's house who they'd built this whole structure for where you rack your weights and all those things. And it's okay, you think you can make it? How much is it gonna cost you? You know, what do you need? If we have this in the garage to make this, can you do it? He said, yeah, I think so. And the normal me would have been there over his shoulder, making sure every step was safe. But this is just a time, like, okay, he's got the time. Let's just let him do it. And it took a couple iterations. He ended up getting a little more help, getting a little more resources from, and he went out and found those. But, you know, now he built this thing. He gets to work out every day on something he built, something he built from scratch. You know,
It has a lot more pride in it.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that becomes a habit, that'd be a great thing.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that'd be a great thing. These small little things, man. You know, and in a way, if this thing wouldn't have happened, he would have still been going to the gym, going to a friend's house. But now he's built something himself, and maybe he may, you know, they may grow to where he's building his own workouts.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what might happen with that.
Yeah.
So that's a really awesome thing.
And I mean, as much as I love the physical structure,
I
love that he kind of broke the algorithm of, let me ask my mom, let me ask my dad, let me check Amazon for it. And we go back to something, like, let me create this with my own hands. That's a really cool experience that I'm proud of. And I hope he enjoys it as much as I see it potentially.
Yeah. Well, some of the greatest inventions have come of times of adversity.
Yeah.
Or mistakes that happen, you know. So this is that was meant to be, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So what is one thing you can share, you know, with others? I'm not saying maybe people that are struggling, but some positive encouragement you can give them to, to help them pass time? What is one thing that you're doing that's helped pass time that's not only been beneficial for your family, but also could be beneficial to other people?
I've tried to balance, okay, what are the things we've always wanted to do? What are the things that gets us through today? Yeah. And I think that is really okay. Like I would tell people, quiet that voice that's asking you if you're winning or if you're doing enough.
Yes.
Because there's always a million things to worry about. And people that are scoring really well on, I'm finding a financial opportunity in this, or I'm in entrenching, I'm reading this book. Those are great things.
Yes.
But they're all at the cost of something else.
Right.
So whatever gets you through a day, whatever puts the most smiles on your face and does the same for those that you're in the closest circle with, that you're in charge of, that's a good thing. That's a win. And I hope that people can not only know that, but embrace that, celebrate that.
Well, good, man. I'm gonna definitely take that advice myself. How has the leadership helped you through this time?
These guys have been great. It's such a powerful, almost like the spice rack of inspiration, of information. There are causes that I didn't know about that I now have access to. Like I get to see, okay, that $1 here, an hour here can make this impact for our community, for these people, for this space, for specific people, and put a name on it. And then sometimes you get to help, sometimes you don't, but you see somebody doing their thing and helping the community. And those are really, really inspirational things. I mean, you get that front row seat to life getting a little bit better in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And what more could you ask for?
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. Me, I just like helping people.
Yeah.
When it first started, I just said all the things I can do. You need a YouTube cover, you need a logo, you need a small video edited, you need a photo shoot. All that stuff was free for the month of April.
Yeah.
And so I want to do anything for people to jumpstart maybe a business they want to get into.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something that they need pictures before the person graduates, or it's got a newborn, or you never had photos in a long time. Anything that'll get people going, man. And that's kind of what catapulted this right here.
Yeah.
Was this making these videos for leadership and for people who actually that need it. So I really appreciate your time, man, and I appreciate everything that you're doing, everything you did for your family. By not helping your son, you did help him. You did help him because you got him to help himself.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. We don't see things that way, but it helps.
Right.
All that stuff helps. But I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this. It doesn't happen without you. It means a lot to us.
Well, I'm just trying. Like I said, I'm just doing my part. I'm a small part in the big plan.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to. But thank you.
Yeah. Could I do? So I firmly believe as long as this climb is, and as exhausting as it will be for our city to come back, there's no better city to bounce back. We have pivoted, we have recreated. There was a time in this country, nobody thought Las Vegas was ever going to be anything more than a quick stop when you're headed west. And innovators, dreamers, diligent, disciplined people made it things that didn't exist anywhere else in the world. And now we're here. And that's changed from a place where you got treated really well for gambling $5 at a time to a place that was a worldwide destination for entertainment, to a city with professional sports. And I don't know where we'll be in 5 years, and I know it's going to be exhausting to get there, but I know that we have the skills, that we have the people, that we have the analytics, that we are going to find exactly what we're meant to be. We're going to find exactly what the right moves are for us, and we will fight our way through this.
So we're in 18 Bravo, the art district, right? So one of the places, you want to talk about bounce back and recovery, right? If you remember the Mandalay Bay shooting, the Route 91 concert. Yeah. So we're going to come on over here and check out the memorial. There's some people over here. Hopefully they won't mind us filming and stuff like that.
Okay.
But let's head over this way and I can kind of show you the memorial. And just show you how Las Vegas perseveres and is resilient.
Yeah.
I'd have no doubt that the community's going to come together.
I don't think I've been over here, bro.
You haven't?
No. I mean, I've been in our district many times, but this is something new.
So it's funny, right? We're talking about the Falcons.
Yeah.
Holy crap. This is live, right? No plans. Right over there is 2 falcons right now.
What? You gotta introduce me, bro.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh my god!
We're out here filming that documentary we're talking about. Look who's here.
Wow.
I can't believe it's you!
We're doing our bicycle ride of the artwork that's down here with the closure.
Okay.
So this is Mark.
Hi, Mark.
How you doing, ma'am?
Doa.
Dua, how you doing, Dua?
Amelia, nice to meet you.
How you doing, Amelia? Nice. Lola, what's that? Lola?
Oh, it's Lollapalooza. It's an
Lollapalooza.
old festival t-shirt.
Okay. I went to Petpalooza in Henderson.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
You know, I love that one. And my
It's
dog,
fun.
my dog loved it.
Yeah.
So, can I just ask you a couple of questions, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Okay. So, so exactly what do you do? Like, what is your profession?
I'm an engineer, civil engineer, and I work for the Las Vegas Valley Water District and Southern Nevada Water Authority.
Okay. Wow. So, how's the water industry being impacted right now by what you're doing?
As far as the virus is concerned, zero impact.
Zero,
We test
okay.
all the time and
Okay.
have no issues whatsoever.
Okay.
We're still operating the system, making sure that we are 100% functional, delivering water. Otherwise, the biggest impact to us is we've had, because we closed our buildings to the public, we've sent a lot of our employees home to telecommute.
Okay.
And that's new for us. We've never done that. So we sort of were thrust into this digital era.
Yeah.
And everybody is adapting really well, which I'm so proud of our employees. Everybody's been doing such a great job.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you guys were able to adapt.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of places like restaurants and things like that had to make some drastic measures to make ends meet. You know.
Yes.
My favorite Thai place is Amazing Thai. Say on Simmons
Yes,
and Ann.
yes.
They're doing just as much business. You know,
With
they're
to-go
popping
orders.
out
Yes.
about maybe sometimes 200 orders a day,
Yeah.
and that's crazy. But
think
not all
what's-
places are doing that.
I think what's going to come out of this is a lot of businesses will realize what they can do
Yeah.
in emergency situations, ourselves included.
Yeah.
We had a whole pandemic plan, and now we're just really putting it to test.
Okay. So now
And
it's really.
Now it's really, you can fine tune it.
That's
what
good.
worked, what didn't work. So it's been good. I mean, we are impacted because for us, a good portion of our budget, for example, comes from the quarter-cent sales tax. And if people aren't out buying goods, we're losing that portion of revenue. And same thing with businesses being closed, including hotels, schools, businesses. That's water sales that are not happening. But that's the negative. Everything else, we've been just business as usual. So we're very fortunate in that area.
Well, very good. So what is something you can tell the people who may be struggling right now that kind of need some kind of motivation or inspiration? Like, what would be one thing you can tell them that'll keep them on more of a positive note versus just looking at the negative that's out there on the news and social media, something that'll just keep their hopes up?
Las Vegas is proof that we can survive. After 1 October, that hit us so hard.
Yes.
But within 2 months, you talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
but you saw no impact to this town. We bounced back
Yeah.
under all circumstances. And I think with everybody being home and feeling trapped,
Mm-hmm.
that when it is safe, I think everybody's going to want that getaway, that
Absolutely.
vacation, whether it's just a weekend to Vegas, just something.
Yeah.
So I'd say, just hang in there, be positive, and Vegas will survive. We always do, because we're always Vegas strong.
Awesome. So is there anything you miss?
Yes. I never thought I would say I miss, and I will never take for granted the gym again. I would give anything to be able to just go and do. So instead, we're out here riding bikes. We're enjoying the outdoors. But I miss being able to just go sit down to a restaurant
Yes.
and visit with my friends. I miss hugging all my friends.
Me too. I don't like handshakes,
Yes.
dabs, and all that. I
Absolutely.
love hugs. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm a hugger.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I want to go back to Mimi's. That's my favorite spot.
Oh yeah, fantastic
Can't go to
place.
Mimi's right now.
I know. But it will be open and everybody will rejoice.
Yes.
They will.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
for your time, and that was some positive vibes. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate that.
Thanks.
to blame for your love. In the sweet despair, a broken heart's lying down. I won't hurry, dear. I'm breathing as long as you're around.
We have Amelia, right? Amelia is awesome. Small businesses, right? When you think about Las Vegas, not only do you think about gambling, I also think about people who come here and get married.
Absolutely.
You know, there's the beautiful people of Las Vegas, you know, and
the beauty.
What do we call it? They come here and they drink, the bachelorette parties and stuff. But not only that, you know, the symbol of love and connection with a husband and wife, husband, wife and wife. You name it. But Amelia is going to bring you some good perspective. I'm very curious because small businesses were probably hit very hard in Las Vegas, and their recovery is going to be very significant because Las Vegas is not just the casinos.
No.
There's a lot to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And we need those small businesses, right?
You know, conventions, it's a lot, but definitely the wedding industry. So, Amelia, okay. It's going to be good.
Well, thank you so much, Amelia, again for meeting me here. This beautiful, beautiful courtyard, the heart of Las Vegas, this historic venue. So, Amelia, can you please tell us what you do?
So I own a hair and makeup agency called Amelia C & Co. I'm also an entrepreneur, so I always have a startup in the incubator.
Awesome. So how's things going today?
Wow. Today's definitely a great day. I've had some small wins earlier this week that have lifted my spirits. I've also noticed that the more that I focus on moving forward and working and getting back to my roots and what I do best, the better I feel. And it also helps to focus, because when we're focused and we're not in our head, we get out of our own myopia, which definitely makes things worse under the circumstances.
I can tell. Yeah, I can definitely tell. So what are the things you're doing, today to get out of the monotony of the normal routine?
So I got some really great inspiration from a Mark Cuban appearance, actually, that was at a town hall a couple of weeks ago. And it really motivated me to, even in this current climate and in this current crisis, to make sure that I make room for moving forward, moving my business forward, moving my career forward, instead of constantly being in crisis response, which is really where I lived for the first 6.5, 7 weeks of this. It was nothing but crisis response, whether that was getting out to volunteer within the community, serving those who have been the most vulnerable and at risk during this time, whether that was focusing on my fellow wedding industry professionals and trying to provide strategies and helping them move through this experience. And then, of course, what happened to my own company and my own sense of well-being, worth, and purpose. So being able to shift from that moment of perpetual adrenaline-fueled crisis response into a place where I'm making room to actually move forward and making space to live my life outside of crisis response has been huge for my mood enhancement.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're moving in that direction. So what do you think one of the things that is going to change moving forward in the beauty and wedding industry?
So we're definitely going to in the beauty and So in the wedding industry, and in particular in the beauty industry, we're going to start to see smaller events. We're going to see more elopements. It doesn't mean that it can't have the Las Vegas swag and the Las Vegas looks that we all know and love, but we are going to see more smaller destination weddings and smaller elopements as people try to navigate what it means to not be in a major crowd right now. And I actually think that despite Las Vegas being one of the ground zeros for the pandemic, we might actually come out of this stronger, because I think that we're going to attract that elopement style clientele. As far as the beauty industry, the first thing that it's going to do is raise safety and sanitation standards. It's something that I've actually been wanting for a long time. There are a lot of hairstylists and makeup artists who don't have proper safety and sanitation training, especially in the makeup artist field. So bringing all of that to light and having people be very aware of things like cross-contamination, being able to identify on-site communicable diseases, and proper sanitation and safety across all the board, I actually think is going to be a bit of a boon when we get a chance to go back to work.
Awesome.
So for small business owners who, like me, are at ground zero right now and essentially watched their entire careers and their blood, sweat, and tears vaporize in a matter of days, the one thing that I would say is remember what got you started. You got to go back to those roots. I remember when I first got started in hair and makeup artistry, I was super gritty, and I still have a lot of that grit. And I have to admit, I've enjoyed not having to be so gritty in the last several years. That is what I worked so hard to be. But just because I don't have to be that now, and I haven't had to be that in the past, it doesn't mean that now is not the time for me to go back to my roots, go back to the hustle that made my business what it is today, go back to that grittiness and that hard work and that discipline that I had in those early days when I was young and scrappy and broke and just trying to make things work. So to the small business owners out there, I'm not going to pretend that this isn't atrocious. I'm not going to pretend that it's not heartbreaking and devastating to watch your baby that you've nursed and nurtured all these years go up in smoke. But what I am telling you is that if you did it once, you can do it again. So get gritty about it.
Amen to that. Well, thank you so much for that, Amelia. That is awesome, great advice. The most motivating and upfront, positive, and straight up honest advice you can give someone to not get off the horse. Do it again, because you can accomplish it. You can do it. You know, this city, I think, is going to come back more resilient, more strong. We're Vegas strong, and I think that, you know, what's your words just really resonating. So every time you speak, it's just really awesome. So I really agree with, you know, I'm honest, because I was talking to her before she got here. I said, man, she's fierce. She's like, you know, she's a perfectionist. I like that. I like that. So thank you so much.
You.
No problem.
But when you think of a pandemic, right, and not just in Las Vegas, you know, when we talk about, you know, Vegas, it's a tourist hub. I think you have to get the perspective of the health and medical industry.
Okay.
So one of our falcons, Dr. Praveen, notice I said doctor.
Yeah.
Who else do you go to? You don't go to the chief to talk about, you know, how our health is being impacted and recovery and the safe social distancing and stuff like that. And so I would talk to Praveen, you know, phenomenal leader, so emotionally intelligent. And I think he's going to give a lot of good perspective on what's going to be needed from the health side of the house.
Okay. Praveen. All right. Got it. I'm in the right spot. Hey, Praveen. Hey, how you doing, bro? Good, man. That's a nice house, man. This is nice.
Good to see you, man.
Well,
thanks for coming by.
No problem, man. Well, thanks for meeting me in this, occasion, man. It's a beautiful day out, but it's. I think it's also a great time for us to, sit down and talk about, what's going on in your industry, things that you can share from perspective of the medical industry, man. Things that's gonna kind of help people out about what's been going on, how you've been impacted, and what things people can do to stay ahead of the curve. So, you ready to,
let's
help me out?
it.
All right.
Come on in. Let's go this way.
All right.
So thank you so much, Praveen, for meeting up with me, man, here at your house. So what exactly do you do, man?
So I'm the medical director for the Culinary Health Fund, which is a health insurance company that provides healthcare benefits for the 60,000 culinary union members who work in the casinos in Las Vegas and their dependents. So we cover about 130,000 lives in Las Vegas.
Oh wow! So business must be doing good.
Business was doing great till the pandemic hit, and a lot of our members had to they were furloughed or laid off because all of the casinos are open. So it's been a challenging time.
Wow. So what innovative ways have you been adapting to this pandemic?
Yeah, so I think we first started hearing about this pandemic, the coronavirus, in February. We actually started testing testing all of our staff at our health centers to have the N95 mask, because it's only effective if they're properly fitted for a certain mask. So we started doing that in February just to be ahead of the curve. At that point we had no idea it would be as dramatic as it turned out. Once the pandemic hit in March, we shifted, all of our company shifted to working from home, but we have a health center that delivers care. And what we did was that the primary care physicians went to a virtual model. They weren't seeing patients face to face, but they were seeing patients by telemedicine.
Oh, so that's very, very different from what you guys did physically.
And then, but we still had our urgent care teams seeing patients face to face.
Yeah.
But the challenge was that there was a shortage of N95 masks and PPE to protect them.
Yeah. So where are you guys at today?
We adapted. We, on the positive side, not a single one of our healthcare teams got sick.
Okay.
They were tested positive for the COVID virus. So we took the right steps to protect our frontline clinicians.
Yeah.
Our members, unfortunately, have struggled with 97% of them being furloughed or laid off and not having any money coming in. And as a company, we have been hit really hard because how we get paid is through the hours that our members work, and nobody's been working, so we've not had any money coming in. And so we actually had to close the health center.
Oh wow!
Last week.
Yeah.
And last week was also my last day with the company.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Is there any advice you would give someone that may be in a similar situation to prevent something like this, from happening? What would you what would one thing you can say to them that may help them?
I would say that first and foremost, take care of your health.
Okay.
Don't get sick.
Yeah.
Be safe, because everything else you can fix. But if you get sick or your family gets sick, there's no going back from that.
Yeah.
You can always apply for a new job,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm interviewing for now for a couple of positions. But nobody predicted this pandemic, and it's upturned everybody's lives. But stay healthy and stay safe.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Praveen.
Thank you much.
And best fortune on your new endeavors with your career. But you have high credibility, so I'm pretty sure you'll land something real soon, man.
Thank you, man.
No problem.
Well, I'll tell you what, just like a good gumbo, you need diversity, you need breadth.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's where you get the strength, the well-rounded, And so perspectives, not just that, I think, you can't forget faith. And so you have my buddy Dave, right? Representing the faith base, God behind bars. This guy is high energy, man. So you better be ready. This guy is good, and they're all great,
Yeah.
But I mean, just Dave you're gonna go from Veen, who's very cool, calm, collective, to what seems like a lot of passion with Dave.
Okay. Dave. It's a nice horsey.
Hey, Dave, right?
Yes, Mark.
How you doing, man?
Pleasure.
Nice to meet you,
Pleasure.
bro.
Thanks for coming today.
Thank you, man. This is a beautiful place, man. Beautiful place. I haven't seen a horse in a while because I don't really drive down this road a lot. But, you know, Kevin spoke very highly of you, man. And just want to get, you know, your point of view on what's going on here. So you ready to go?
Yes, I am. Thanks so much for coming today.
No problem, man.
Come on, welcome to Happy Land Ranch.
Happy Land.
Well, thank you so much, Dave, for allowing me in your home. Thank you so much for your time, man. This has been a beautiful, beautiful progression of me interviewing all these people from different walks of life, how they're thinking about this pandemic, the positive things that can come out of it, because negativity is very cheap. It's not worth anything. You know, only thing we can spread is love and positivity, even though negativity is real, but that cannot be the only factor. So, you know, so Dave, what exactly do you do?
Well, I'm blessed and favored, highly favored to run a national prison ministry called God Behind Bars.
Nice. That's pretty awesome, man. So you go to high desert often, or is it like something different?
Yeah, we actually operate programming, faith-based programming from Alaska all the way to Florida.
Oh, wow.
With Nevada being our home state. And right now we currently serve in Florence McClure, which is a female facility out the north end of town.
Okay.
Jean Conservation Camp, which is a female facility down the south end of town. Clark County Detention Center, which is right in town.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to get up into high desert. But yeah, currently across the nation.
Okay, so how's your ministry right now being impacted by this pandemic?
You know, it's been a 180-degree turn on what we normally do. And what we normally do is provide faith-based services with relevant, cutting-edge, non-denominational churches across the country. And by doing that, we mobilize the church and a volunteer team to go inside the facilities to provide church services, Bible studies, different family reunification events. And of course, with the pandemic and its safety measures, we are not allowed in at all. We have over 50 prisons that we provide services and programming to. And we are right now currently physically shut out of all 50. The good news is we have some partners that we have been able to provide digital content, and we're also sending in a national campaign called Letters of Hope. We're sending letters and Bibles and devotionals in every week, every day, so we still remain in contact with our friends that are locked up.
Oh, nice, nice. So what have you learned since the middle of March, since the president had basically said by this time things got to be shut down? So what have you learned since that process started?
In a work setting, how fragile our relationships can be impacted. Let me rephrase that. Let me reword that. All of the effort and intention that we put into relationship building, because we're in the relationship business.
Absolutely.
I hate to call it business. That's a bad choice of words. But in the relationship building element, you know, the sheer fact that we can't be person to person with someone, and how fast that can change. And I think what we've learned, not only through our team at God Behind Bars, but also intimately with our families and our friends, is this is something to learn from, to never take for granted.
Absolutely.
You know, what is our time worth? And it's time that you pick up the phone.
Yep.
You forgive somebody. You push it aside, and you just look forward. I love the spirit that you have with positivity, and we believe that's the key.
Yeah.
And now we're just kind of honing in on that to say, hey, how do we not allow this opportunity for growth and positivity and focus to pass us by?
Thank you. I appreciate the compliment, but I wasn't always positive. My high school teacher in science, Mr. Rels, I was a jerk in high school, especially when I was in 11th and 12th grade. One day she came to me and she ripped me. And she said, "Mark, you know, you have a really bad attitude and you're very negative.
Don't you know that you're never gonna get anywhere with that type of attitude? You can change it. And when you do, things will start changing in your life. That hit. If she would have talked to me all calm and nice and, Mark, you can talk a little better, this is not the way to do it. No, she came right at me. And at the time, that's what I needed, because that was the way I was talking to other people. So she came at me with that same energy, but she transformed it in a way that can actually help me. And since then, I started thinking a whole lot more positive about so many more things, because to be resilient is the greatest strength you can have at this time. If you can learn to be resilient, that's a skill. Like learning how to listen, that's a skill. Learning how to actually hear things. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a very reason. And the most, I believe the most powerful muscle that you have is in between your ears. Then, that's your brain. Once you learn how to use that, instead of blaming this person, blaming that person, we can always do that, but it doesn't get us anywhere. Only thing we can do is try to help that person, because at one time you was that way too. We may not admit it. We may not want to say it out loud, but deep down, we don't always like the person we see in the mirror, but we'll never let other people know that. But it makes you stronger by letting them know that. So that way you might be having the same problem and we can both come to the same conclusion, at the same time. We're in a people business.
Amen.
That's really what it is. It's the people effective communication, because those people in prison have a soul. Those people in prison, they struggle with things too. They can't see their family. What if they were, getting released soon? I'm pretty sure they miss your ministry. I'm pretty sure they miss the messages, the one-on-ones, the things that you could tell them, this is, these times really show you humanity for what it really is. It brings out the best in people, but also brings out the worst. It brings out who you really are. We may say money changes people. Money reveals. It doesn't change us.
Good word. Good word. And with the team at God Behind Bars, that's one of the things that I cherish, is that in moments like this, we hit the gas pedal. We're led by a very, very fierce faith follower. He's quite easy to follow, because he's so passionate about his faith, and he's so passionate about compassion and hope and the message of Jesus that, as this started to percolate in January and February, and we had our eyes on it, we had already begun to bring some projects that we had put in the parking lot. We had already begun to move them over to the front parking lot and bring them back into view. And as soon as this hit, our Letters of Hope project hit full speed. Because like you said, in times like this, when despair is very easy to grab a hold of, especially in prison, one of the things that has been around the table of conversation is, wow, here we are as the free world in a stay-at-home order. For those of us that have not been locked up, this may be the closest thing we've ever experienced to being, quote, quarantined or restricted. And some of us, this is my personal belief, that we believe that the punishment of incarceration is the actual sentence. It's the discretion being removed from yourself to be able to walk out that front door. The confinement is a physical barrier. But when you're lying in that bed for years on end in a 4x8 cell, that's your punishment. What has been removed from your discretion and your decision making is the ability to walk.
Right.
And right now, during this time, many folks have the ability to earn, they have the desire to earn, they have the capability to earn, but they're being forced not to earn.
Right.
So inside that, what lesson is that? I'll never forget it. A few weeks ago, at an event where it was a drive-up food pantry that I was fortunate enough to spend the day with, I will never ever forget the look in that gentleman's eye. There was a 2-mile long strip of cars coming in line, and what we were doing is we were gathering food and placing it in the back seat or the trunk or the back of the pickup truck of vehicles as they came up to maintain social distancing.
Okay.
When this car came up, there was a gentleman in a very, very nice SUV, 3 girls in the back. I didn't say a word to this gentleman. He didn't say a word to me, but I will never forget the look in his eye. And the look in his eye was, I have been successful my whole life. I have provided for my family my whole life. I have worked hard my whole life. And right now, in this moment in time, I have no idea what to do. I've made a lot of money and I don't know what to do. We put the food in the gentleman's car. I smiled at him, and I'm just hoping that that act that I was a tiny part of, that act gave him hope, that he felt love and he felt cared for, in the form of, it gave him the inspiration to keep going forward. And in that moment of very uncertainty, he may never have felt prior in his life, that he was given hope that, hey, it's gonna be okay, and we're gonna come together. Those are the things that I hope that we all take away from something like this.
That's great, man. I hope it did. I hope it did, man. Well, to wrap this up, man, what is one thing you could share, maybe from personal experience, maybe something that you're dealing with right now, that you maybe wasted time when you were free to go wherever, now you're kind of not, that you may taken for granted, didn't take advantage of, but now you see what's really in front of you?
Thank you. I think that's a wonderful question, because it's come up in my relationship with my wife, my children, my coworkers, my boss, my men's Bible study. The same theme has come up, is that during this time we have felt that this has not been a time to slow down. It has not been a time to let up on our goals and what we want to accomplish in life. It's a time to go forward and speed that process up. However, what I've personally learned and feel very, very grateful for is that it has been a very, very good time to become acutely aware that this is a great time to recalibrate, to regroup, to refocus, reprioritize. And I feel like I have been busier mentally, physically, working out again, but I've been much busier with a smaller number of focuses, meaning there may have been 50 things on the plate that were getting 75% of my effectiveness prior to this, because life is busy and things are coming at you and there's abundance everywhere. And now that, sometimes we're just forced into a situation, and I'm actually grateful. Yes, things are stressful. Yes, there's still a lot of uncertainty in front of us. We're trying to make preparations for what those uncertainties might entail.
Yeah.
But the recalibration of priority to me is, I think, going to be the biggest blessing through this. For instance, my children. Before the pandemic, I remember often it was, Dad, can I get this on Amazon? Dad, can we go get this? Dad, can I get this for my birthday, even though it's in 9 months from now? Dad, can I do this? That's what I remember. But what I'm learning now through this, spending so much time with them, is that they don't want things.
They want you.
They want us. They want our time. They want our attention. They want our focus. And talking about reprioritizing, I've been thankful to regroup, shrink the number of things on our plate, and then take those things and exploit the heck out of them in a positive way.
That's it, man. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Dave, for your time, man. You've been an awesome soul. Once again, thank you for, inviting me here to your house, and that was great, bro. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you were here, and I'm so glad that you and Kevin have this idea to share what hope, love, and compassion is all about.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Man, so I live in North Las Vegas, and I can't tell you, the government of Las Vegas. I love North Las Vegas. I think, it'll be important for you to talk to one of my other falcons, Alfredo. He is in government for the city of North Las Vegas, And I think it'd be awesome because, one, I'd be curious to see how North Las Vegas is impacted as one of the cities that make up the 702.
Yeah.
The big Las Vegas, shining lights, bright lights, Dice, Hoover Dam, Springs Preserve.
I live in Northtown too.
Yeah, so I think that'd be a good place for you to, that'd be a good person to go see and talk to.
Okay. Fredo.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey Mark, how's it going?
Doing?
Good to meet you.
You too. Practice social distancing?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you so much, man, for meeting me out here in this park. I haven't been here in a while.
Oh.
I used to bring my dogs out here a lot. They love a little dog walk over there.
Yeah.
But I never really been to the AMP.
No? Well,
never
you're
really
missing
been over
out.
here.
It's a great community facility, community amenity.
Yeah. Oh, look, they're enjoying the sun.
Oh, yeah. No, well, in Craig Ranch, as a facility is just a great community amenity here locally for residents of North Las Vegas.
Okay. I live not too far from here. Go down maybe Long Mountain to Valley, make a right. I'm not too far from home.
Well, you're always welcome here.
Well, yeah, thank you. I remember when I first building this, man, I thought this was gonna be some kind of plant or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, what are they gonna do with all this land? Or, in one idea, I thought they was gonna build a amusement park.
Well, you know, there's always something to discover. Look at the little turtles there. Look at that.
Oh,
it's pretty cool. It's a whole little
I've not seen that.
pile of family of turtles. Oh, and then
I have not seen that.
ducks as well. That's the cool thing about this place. There's always something really interesting to discover.
Yeah. All right, so Alfredo, thank you so much for meeting me here at Craig Ranch Park, man. It's a beautiful day outside. So Alfredo, what do you do? What is your profession?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. My name is Alfredo Malesio. I'm the Assistant City Manager for North Las Vegas. What we do is we serve the people of North Las Vegas, all the residents, and we provide services, police, fire, parks, libraries for the community. As part of what has happened to all of us here is a lot of those services have had to be shut down. The libraries, the park playgrounds. We actually are in a park, so we can actually recreate in a park, but a lot of the facilities that we have are closed. The AMP behind me is actually a live entertainment venue that's for the entire, not only the North Las Vegas community, but the entire Southern Nevada. It's currently also closed as part of this, like a lot of other entertainment venues in the valley. That is really the negative consequence, that we have services that we have prepared and want to provide to residents, but we are unable to do that. And so on a daily basis, we meet at 8 a.m. every morning to try to talk about how we work through this as community members and how we balance the needs of the community, and also looking to the future as far as how this pandemic is going to have an impact on our future. Because a lot of the other commercial businesses, the vibrancy of what Las Vegas is and the activity that goes on here is also at a standstill. So we have to plan for our future and figure out our business model and figure if we need to change that on how we provide services, so that they're maybe not all one-on-one or in person, but maybe more online, like we're doing a lot of things these days, and people have had to come to terms with those things very quickly. They've had to learn how to do a Zoom call, or how to call in instead of being in person, or how to go and do the things online. Obviously, our children have had to do this, and so it really, for me, it breaks my heart that there's things that we want to provide and services that we want to provide to residents on a daily basis that we can't because of all the rules. But I guess more importantly and personally, when you talk about, how am I affected? I mean, I'm affected by that, but when my sister called me and told me that she had lost her job, And then 2 weeks later, her husband was diagnosed with COVID. He had COVID as well. All those things are things that, along with a lot of the other people in the valley and the community that are suffering, those really hit close to home. And when you have also vulnerable populations that can't leave their home and see family members. I've also had friends whose older relatives have passed away, and they can't do the real serious mourning that we have all grown accustomed to. Digital mourning is not holding the hand of one of your relatives and telling them it's going to be okay. And so that is probably one of the bigger things that I think that we all share as a community, as the real impact of what this pandemic has had on not only us as a community in North Las Vegas, but as a Southern Nevada, but also just generally as a country. As I was saying a little while ago, as we begin to move forward, we're really going to have to see the business that we are in, and we're going to have to we have to fight for what it is we value and the services we want to continue to bring to our residents, and really look at every way we're doing things and see if there's a better way, see if there's a more efficient way. We've always talked about efficiencies, but now it's even more important because a lot of those resources that were there that we counted on as residents, as a North Las Vegas resident myself, me and my family, a lot of those resources that we've counted on, the projection is that they're not going to be there moving forward. And so, when we always look hopeful to our future, but we also, when we already know that the future that we're seeing is gonna come with some really tough stumbles and some really large obstacles, I think we have to look at that and we have to say, we're gonna fight for what we value as a community and what kind of community we want to be and the services we want to provide to our residents.
Well, awesome, man. That's some great information, man. So what is something you can give to people for encouragement, man, who may be, struggling at this time? Some of those workers who were, unemployed. You were saying that your family member was, and, is now unemployed. But what is something you can tell them to let them know, like, there is light at the end of the tunnel?
I think a lot of us have talked a lot about having to stay at home, right, and what we can do. For the folks that are still employed, and are still working, I know that they're working hard every day. I know that we as community officials are working hard every day to try to piece together what our future is going to look like. But I think I would ask those who have to, when people talk about being bored a lot, during this time, there are a lot of opportunities to help people, to get online and make a donation, make a delivery, do something for your neighbor. One of the traditions we have as a staff is to reach out to 3 people, send them a text, give them a call, ask them how they're doing, ask them how they're feeling, ask them how they're coping, because that's the kind of encouragement we're going to need to move forward. For those that are in very difficult situations, I guess I would say, we always have hope, and that there are people out there that care about you, that want to see you survive. Number one, want to see you make one of the biggest comebacks that you've ever done in your life, especially if you've lost a job and you're not sure where it is and what you're going to be doing moving forward. This is time for your biggest comebacks. I forget the fighter, professional boxer, who every time you watch him fight, he's going to get hit and get knocked down. Yeah. But it doesn't matter, because he's going to get back up and he's going to fight his way to a win. And I think that's what each one of us has to do. Yeah,
I think it was in Rocky, he had once said, doesn't matter how hard you get hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's
exactly
what it's all about.
That's it.
Get up and keep moving forward. Yep. That's Sly, man. I think it's Rocky, man. Well, thank you so much, Alfredo, for your time.
Oh, thank you.
It was awesome.
Come on, let's
we got to do
good mentors and good leaders by social.
I appreciate you keeping me honest, man.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.